Let's go. We are just heading out of town really quickly. We are coming back tonight, well, because I have to work the entire week, actually, and usually toward the end of the year. These are just like the busiest time of the year. Once in October, and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's, and then, well, it's dead in January until, like, what? Maybe March, April, when, like, spring break happens. So, yeah. And people have asked, like, they want to do more vlogs, and the only vlogs I do is when I go to the movie theater, and people like those. So you can't really expect too many real-life vlogs unless we do something like this, which isn't going to be, obviously, as often or consistent, but yeah. Probably just going to go out to Target or Barnes & Noble or something, because our town is crap, and we have nothing there at all. The mall is terrible. All we have is Game World, and I like Game World, but, you know, selection of stuff is not that good. And then we have our Walmart, where crackheads are. Isn't that fun?
There's crackheads everywhere. It's not just at Walmart.
Good Lord. And, well, he's driving because I can't, because I'm black, and I'm just a good-looking, rich, successful, tall Riz master. Do you believe me?
I don't.
Crazy. So, last time we did this, we had Lennon and Carla when we went to San Diego, and I just about slit my throat as we were coming back. She said she got mad because we didn't stop anywhere for food, and I'm like, yes, we did. We asked. We straight up asked, where do you want to go for food?
3 times.
It's because Lennon was retardedly talking about horoscope signs, and to be honest here, horoscope signs are stupid and retarded. I hate them. If a girl says something about horoscope sign, I'm not listening. I'm just tuning that anything that bitch says. So yeah. Guys won't probably be seeing them anymore, and I guess, you know, good riddance. Because, hey, someone had told me, not everyone is a forever person. Some people are just temporary. Maybe they're just good being temporary people. And by temporary, I mean, like, you don't talk to them in, like, years.
You're dramatic, dude.
I'm just pointing out the facts. But, so how you guys been? Let's see. Most movies I've done pretty good this year. He wants me to watch Barbie, so we're probably going to review Barbie, or probably just going to talk about the NBA, which just started today. So the Lakers are playing the Timberwolves, actually, I think, tonight. I think.
Tonight? I mean, this is still the preseason. Oh, no, today's
the actual season. Yeah, it's 22nd. It's the opening season.
Oh, my goodness, it's the opening day.
That's what I thought you were busy. You were busy watching the game.
No, I literally came home and fell asleep immediately.
Oh, so the actual season begins today. So what I'm thinking about is, because me and Savage Dad's show that a lot of people like for comics, we have to kind of move it till Tuesdays because we're starting a new job. And he has to adjust, so he has to know when he has to wake up for Sunday. So what we're going to do is, we're just going to have that show, obviously, on Tuesdays. So I'm thinking for us to have an NBA show, because we're supposed to have an NFL-centric show, but he went to Korea and yelled at old people. So
I didn't yell at old people. They yelled at me. It was the worst time of my life. Don't go to Korea.
Good God. So we're going to just do an NBA-centric one. I don't know how many games people are going to watch. I'm going to try and watch like at least 5 or 6 games. Just enough for us to talk about on a show, because there's a lot of games. So obviously I want to watch the Laker games. Chaz is a Knicks fan, and I told him I'm just going to watch the Knicks play just to see them lose so I can shit on them. So I have to do that. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm just going to watch the Knicks games. I'm going to watch them like a hawk. Like Chaz watches Gen G. Just shit. Every time Gen G will lose, like, man. Or any team that I like in League, Chaz will mess me after the game and be like, man, your team is trash. This man, 100 Thieves got asshole blown out at World. Completely destroyed. This man didn't even appear on the show. I was like, bro, it's not that serious. I'm not going to...
Who got blasted?
100, because he in NA, he likes 100 Thieves. So they got completely ass-rolled. And then I didn't see that man for a week. 100 Thieves got blown out of World. He was gone for a week. So I was like, okay. All right. So I told him I'm watching the Knicks games to see them fucking suck. But the Knicks did well last year. Didn't they make the conference finals? They made the match before the conference finals, so they didn't look that bad last year. So I was thinking about earlier today with basketball, how much Kobe Bryant was a GOAT over LeBron. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm a Lakers fan, and I love Kobe Bryant. I do. He's my favorite player of all time.
I was thinking,
but
you know the carry games that Kobe had compared to the carry games LeBron had? So much different.
Hating on LeBron is hard for me to do because he's so good.
I think his personality makes it really hard to root for that guy. That guy is such a fucking piece of garbage. Good God.
You're very
I'm just.
intertwined in his political doings.
Oh no! You think I follow the guy on Twitter? I'm following the guy on Twitter.
Well, he says it
I
all
have
the time. So
standards.
one of my big things he said is the China thing. Obviously, that was big, and also
That's the thing with John Cena too, wasn't
and he
it?
said, "Don't boo Deshaun Watson." It was like those are the two things. It's kind of weird to me.
Oh no, there was a recent one where a little fan asked him for a picture in like Spain because they're doing the Olympics, and he just was so hostile toward that kid. I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm just pointing out, he is nothing without fans. He is just irrelevant without fans. Saying, be a little bit more grateful, But hey, yeah, I guess you're not entitled to being grateful. But the NBA season is starting, so we'll try to have a basketball-centric MSK show. Maybe, well, I forgot. Since the league season is going to be ending very soon, we could just do that on what? Maybe Saturdays? Well, when did we have the show yesterday? Wasn't it? What was yesterday? It was Monday, right?
It was.
So when the league season is over, before it starts up again, we could probably try and see if we're going to have it on Sundays and Thursdays. Would that work for you? Or maybe like on Saturdays?
You keep trying to get me into scheduled things.
I'm just asking you when it works for you.
I mean, if I'm free, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to be in a schedule where it relies on me because.
No, I'm just saying like if I'm not saying we'll rely on you, but I'm saying like what days would possibly work best.
Those days would be fine.
Like Sundays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just make sure the show can work without me because I just don't.
Oh, it will. It's worked out for you for years.
I just don't want me to be tied down and feel obligated to come to something that when I want to go out and do stuff.
You want to go out and do stuff? Have a life? That's gay.
That's true.
So, all right. What movies have you watched recently?
I don't even know. I don't think I've watched many movies recently.
You read books?
I did.
You read that guy Kalen's book?
I did. His book was interesting.
Well, you like orcs, right?
I do.
There's a guy named John A. Douglas who wrote a orc book called Black Crown Adventures.
My problem with orc books is, and I'll tell you right now, I could probably guess what's inside of it. And it's hard for me to say. It's like the honorable thing where all orcs are like this and they savage, like the entire time is like desensitizing you to the savage stuff they do. Or he's going to be tackling like the uniqueness of this isn't actually what orcs like. They're actually
Are orcs
like
always portrayed as savage villains?
Not always. In World of Warcraft, they're not. World of Warcraft, they're honorable people who only fight to keep their people safe.
Yeah.
And they actually accept other people into their group. But they like war, and I like that version of orcs. Mm-hmm. World of Warcraft has the best version of orcs that I've seen in a long time.
It sucks that Warcraft movie bombed as much as it did.
And the World of Warcraft scene loved it. China loved it.
Really?
They did.
Well, it was carried by the international box office, yeah.
It was, by China. China is in love with World of Warcraft.
Well, you would think, given how big World of Warcraft was here, that the movie would have made a lot of money, but
it just wasn't interesting to other people. Like, if you haven't played World of Warcraft, you didn't care about that.
Oh, yeah.
It was good CGI-wise.
Oh, I remember the trailer, yeah.
Everything, honestly, the only thing that they really messed up was, first of all, they tackled the least interesting part of the movie, the storyline. And then they stupid.
That's why video game adaptations don't work. They just never tackle the right things that make the video game pop off.
It's hard because there's no substance to video games that isn't kind of like like a lot of the times. Like Fallout is a very good game, but and again, the show wasn't that bad. But
I didn't hear that many bad things about it.
The show wasn't that bad, but it's hard to make a story off a show where a lot of the story is centralized around gameplay.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would say. I really do like.
Plus, video game characters are even more unrealistic to make look like what they look like in the games of the movie.
I just didn't hate the CGI. I actually think that's one of the things they did okay was how they looked. Because like Avatar, it kind of had that same feel of Avatar to me.
I think World of Warcraft would function better as a show.
It would be hard. The big thing is, I think my favorite thing
kind of like what Rings of Power was trying to do.
If they did from Warcraft 1 all the way to Frozen Throne, that would be amazing. And then make a movie out of the Lich King.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm saying, but it would be that would sell. That is a good
it would be someone like me. I don't know the lore. So as long as you just made a decent product, I mean, people could tell you on the service level what made a decent product.
I'll give you a very short rundown. So this guy, the whole thing is there's like void lords that are trying to like invade. It's kind of weird sounding, but trying to invade the world, and all they want to do is consume. Mm-hmm. So this guy gets infected by somebody who's against the Void Lords but is also evil. So there's two evil factions that are both fighting against each other, and then there's the regular humans and orcs and stuff. He gets infected by that, and his whole thing is when he puts on this crown, it turns him evil. So so all he does is raise undead to fight against the people that are sent from the other group. It's hard for me to really.
That sounds pretty interesting.
It is interesting enough, and his backstory is like he used to be a king.
But that's the thing is, that sounds interesting, but that's been probably done in so many different movies.
The crown. What I really like is you can go from the first episode of him doing all these things, and by the end of the episode, because the crown slowly corrupts him. So you see him go from this self-righteous guy. By the end of it, he's just killing everybody. Like the very last thing he does before is people get infected by this disease, and he just slaughters the entire town. He just kills everybody in it, and as he kind of chains down his mentor and his love.
What the hell?
It was crazy.
Sounds like some, I would say, Shakespearean, apocalyptic zombie story.
It's so cool, and the thing is, I mean, I wouldn't say that. It didn't really feel Shakespearean, but it's a very interesting story that doesn't really get. They didn't tackle that. They instead did the beginnings of the world.
Oh, so they did an Origins movie first. That's not bad of an idea for a new franchise to do, but the problem with doing Origins automatically implies that
they're going to be doing more.
Yeah, and it also implies that, hey, you're a casual and you can watch this and understand it, but the thing is, World of Warcraft, from everything I know, the lore is so dense that if you don't actually know anything about it, you're going to be so lost, it won't even matter what the movie's explaining to you. That's why it's better to do those kind of things in a TV show, where it's explained in a longer, more format.
Done a TV show and then ended off with a movie, and it would have worked out well. And I still think they can do that, and just tackle the storyline from a different part. The storyline of WoW,
Arcane did that for League.
Arcane is so good.
League's lore is so people understand. Let's say a champion like Aatrox. Aatrox had a lore, because back in the day in League, you could actually look up their lore with their character profiles.
The big thing is you had to look up the large majority of the lore just online. It's crazy. It
was in their character bios, but it was in such horrible it was in this horrible text that was written from scribbles. It was so bad. So every time they reworked the champion, they changed the lore. Every time. I don't know why they did it. Didn't make any sense, but they did it because Riot didn't make any good decisions most of the time anyway. So for someone people ask me why do you watch Arcane? I never cared for League's lore that much. It's kind of somewhat interesting, but
so I will say, the lore when it got revamped is so much better. The lore is a lot better now. There's a whole fleshed out world that didn't exist before. Before they just had countries and they had people in them. Now they have defined the land and what everything's like, and I think that's way better.
I will say the CGI that League has for their trailers they promote every year, those look great. If you made that into a movie, those would be amazing.
Arcane is great. Arcane was a very good show. I really think if you haven't watched it, you really should.
It's just crazy how they're only going to be finishing off the 2 seasons.
Well, I mean, sometimes you don't have to do more than that.
Well, it costs a lot of money to do.
It's not even just that. The storyline doesn't need that. Storyline can finish, and we can tackle other ones. There's 170 characters.
Yeah. You can simply, the Azir storyline is just amazing.
Yeah, Azir, Nasus, and Renekton. You can do that.
The noxious stuff with Darius and Draven, I'll take that.
Well,
to be fair, that's more Gladiator.
The Garen one.
Demacia stuff. Oh, that is definitely pretty cool, yeah.
There's the Piltover with Graves and stuff.
Oof. Misfortune. Oh, would they cast Amaranth as Misfortune?
No, she can't act.
She does. If she could act, she literally looks like Misfortune.
I don't even hate. I know a lot of people hate Amaranth, but I don't care that much. I mean,
I got a little angry because people were happy she was getting canceled. I'm like, why are we celebrating cancel culture?
I don't think I've seen her do anything wrong. So that's why my big thing is I don't know.
I just don't like that people say, hey, we're against cancel culture, but someone that is doing that is getting... That's not fair. I don't care for what she does, but I'm not going to root for her.
Culture, they're against people they like getting canceled.
Yeah.
If you say the N-word, you should be in trouble. It just doesn't need to happen. Another thing is, if you say that veterans should die...
Oh, that Muslim chick that did that. She said, that ugly, fat, disgusting bitch. She said Army vets deserve PTSD.
She said, you know what? If you came to the conclusion that you regret what you did, maybe you don't deserve PTSD. But everybody else, you deserve to get PTSD. I was like, no.
Okay, what was she saying worse? Did you see the Asmongold stuff?
I was asking to ask you if you did a video on that. Asmongold is
I'd be honest, YouTube knows.
So
YouTube doesn't like when I touch that stuff, so I
the difference
clear
between
that.
you can do that. There's a billion videos on it.
I'm not touching it.
So a billion. What I would like to say is, the difference between it is what she did. I didn't see an apology from her. Asmongold said the worst possible thing you could say. It was disgusting, and you should never be allowed to say that. He should have got banned from it. But he came out afterwards, says, "I deserve this."
But you know how those work? Apologies like that are meaningless.
No, that one felt. Usually, I don't agree with it, but I do believe.
Well, it's not about the agreeing part. It's more like when you do that, people already hate you already. There's nothing you can do to change
but I'm
it.
a grown man. I can accept when people change. And I think that he came out and said, my dad came out and said that I've been getting angry on stream and I just kept blowing him off. And when it finally blew over and all these things happened, and he came out and said he didn't say what he came out and still supported me. I realized he was right this whole time, and I should have been a grown adult about all this. And I was like, you know what, that felt like it came from somewhere. And I think Asmongold made a mistake. He shouldn't have said all that. And I think I'm also willing to say that he can come back instead of using.
He's filthy rich. He'll be fine. It's just one of those things where apologizing doesn't do much because people already, like, the internet is a place where they're just not going to forgive you for anything, honestly.
People forgive him all the time.
And keep in mind, when you apologize, people just look at it as, oh, well, he just is apologizing because he got caught.
I don't care what anybody does it for. I base my interpretations on their apology, what it sounds like. People are going to trick me sometimes, but I'm willing to be tricked.
Yeah, it all depends on what are you going to interpret it as.
I believe that he is willing to change.
His rant was very, like,
it was too much. He was angry about
the Palestinians
stuff. And again, it's a whole convoluted mess.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even tackle this?
People know, for me, I don't know that much about it. That's why, like, it's like what Busta Rhymes said when that lady asked him about P. Diddy. I genuinely do not talk about things I have no idea what I know on.
So the big thing is, you can hold Israel accountable for everything they have done. They've killed a lot of civilians. And also say that, how do you stop this whole crisis from happening? How do you stop the Palestinians and the Gaza thing from because they are angry at Israel, and there is a lot of it that comes from the fact that Israel has attacked them. But at the same time, historically, they've been trying to kill Israel since the beginning.
Yeah.
How do you coexist with somebody who doesn't like you?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying at the end of the day, there's no justification for Israel killing civilians.
There's no justification for what they did on October 7th.
Again, it's just. It's not black and white. There are bad people. It's mostly bad people on both sides of this whole situation. Yeah. But the victims deserve some sort of, like, what's it called? Sympathy.
Again, people want to live in this world where everyone can compromise and sing kumbayas. That's just not how life works sometimes.
Well, I mean, it comes down to Israel is defending themselves against a threat that is existing in a situation around them, and they're willing to take lives for it.
Yeah.
But the problem also comes down to, how does Israel take out a group that is hiding themselves among civilians? But you can't really. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I feel about this whole thing, because I don't know enough about.
That's why I don't touch it.
There's so many sources coming from both sides. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know who's telling the truth.
And obviously, if you are Jewish, you're going to be extremely biased towards Israel. And if you're Palestinian, you're biased towards them.
One of my best friends is Palestinian, and he really did change my mind when I was younger. It really did change my mind, because I grew up in church, so I really, really had big connotations towards believing Israel. But it changed my mind a lot about him telling me how his life was. So it's hard for me. I don't really know. I don't know a lot. I know what I'm told, and I try and.
Well, it's just that stuff that she said. Like, she straight up she doubled down on what she said and then apologized. Like, that just felt fake as hell.
I don't believe her, because I don't think people like her.
She criticizes the army while she, in fact, is just sitting behind her monitor with a microphone to her mouth, talking about people going to the army.
I believe Asmongold can change, and I'd like to see it. If she had an apology, I'd like to see it, because I don't want to judge her. A lot of people rant angrily based on things that they've grown up around. She probably grew up around a lot of Middle Eastern families that were victims, or at least somewhat affected by the situation. So I could see why she'd be angry.
And keep in mind, military branches for certain places are only going to do what their superiors tell them.
No, I can tell you firsthand experience that they will go out of their way to
I know,
abuse civilians. There's a lot of like assaults. There's all these things. There's a lot of murders that soldiers do.
A lot of the G word.
I'm just not saying that word. I'm just saying all of these things happen. There's a whole...
But it's the thing of just generalizing that everyone's like that. It's like, you know.
It's not just about generalizing. It's about the fact that you hold the others accountable for the sins of a few. That's what it comes down to. Do you think that everybody should be a victim of this situation?
Yeah, because when people mention military like her, it's not just military. There's Marines, there's Coast Guards, there's Air Force people. Those are different branches.
She's talking about people deployed. It's pretty obvious. And no, she really wasn't, though. I think she was talking about that mostly, but I think she would hold the entirety of the military complex accountable. That's my mindset.
Yeah, it's just, oh my goodness. There's people out there that just start spouting stuff.
I think people should
I think we should be able to talk about these things, but the thing with talking about them is like people just put their emotions so much into them, and it makes it just unbearably difficult. That's why sometimes I don't touch those specific things. I don't even touch. It's just too, people have their feelings so far in, it just...
When Asmongold said that, I think at some point in time he was a reasonable guy. He was a reasonable guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he apologized before he got banned.
Oof.
He did apologize.
But Dr. Disrespect, no, there's no apology with that guy.
That guy's just, I mean, there's no apologizing for that.
Yeah.
Especially...
That's disingenuous.
He didn't apologize. He doubled down.
Like that, remember he said he admitted to what he did, and then he edited the tweet like 6 times? And then he said, well, I was just saying this because I wanted to get people to believe that. Why would you want people to believe that about you? Like, all that just sounds like a crock of shit. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, I don't really care about Dr.
I'll be on in a second.
Yeah, good.
All right, we'll see you in the next part. I'm just here to get some books, actually, so I wanted to show you guys the selection of stuff we have here. I don't know if I'm allowed to record, so that's why I got to do this pretty quickly. Look at all the manga section. That's all the manga right there. All the manga. 3-in-1s, omnibuses, all that stuff. Look at that. All the manga. And then this is our graphic novel section. That's that. That's what they get for Marvel and DC, Dark Horse, Image, all that stuff. And there it is. That's it. DC, Marvel, all right there. And the manga section is triple. It's not kidding. Manga is outselling Marvel and DC currently. So yeah, for the other part of the vlog, I'll be back in the car with James. I don't know if I'm allowed to record, so see you in a second, okay? My phone was running out of storage space because I was watching so much porn, so I had to go and delete it. But
why'd you look at me when you said porn?
I will just say this. If a person is a creative person, I would say this. When you take inspiration from someone, try to understand sometimes it's not even as deep as a character as you want to make. So we'll just use Batman as Superman we'll use Batman for example. Batman's a guy that just runs around in a bat outfit and beating people up. Something that simple resonated with people. Sometimes I don't think your character always has to be as deep.
I don't think that anybody's really so there's a lot of Batman comics that just aren't good.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about the essence, the idea of a character existing. It doesn't have to be some deeply thought out thing.
One big thing that people loved was the comic book between I always forget the name of it, but the comic book where Joker takes over a carnival.
I was talking about The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
He takes over a carnival. It's very short. It's not a very long story.
That was written by Alan Moore, who wrote Watchmen.
I don't think it's that good, but it was good for its time period. It was good for its time period. So one big thing is, one of the things they do, if he gets into the stupid carnival, kills the guy who owns it instead of pays. He's like, this is how it's something like that. And then Batman breaks in because he's kidnapped the mayor. Or not he
kidnapped Jim Gordon.
Jim Gordon.
Yeah. This is the book where he paralyzed his daughter.
Yeah. And it shows him a video of him sexually assaulting her, and I'm like, Jim Gordon's
allegedly. It's always been implied, but just saying.
What did it? I'm pretty sure we just saw him stripping her naked, and then we.
I would believe you too, but people always just say they don't know.
No, I do not know.
Joker's insane, so I do believe it.
What he literally strips her naked in the video.
What a disgusting.
From what I remember, it's been a long time since I've watched.
Oh no, that's what happened.
I was just like, that is sexual assault by itself.
Oh yeah.
The depth of it.
Because he wanted to make sure that Jim went insane after one bad day happened to him.
Well, my big thing is, it was cool to see Joker's origin. That was cool too.
Well, that's what he thinks is his origin.
What do you mean?
Do you mind? He said if I have an origin, I prefer to be multiple choice.
No, that doesn't make sense. Who wrote that?
He's mentally deranged.
No, that was a good origin story. I don't care what anybody says. The reason they wrote that is because somebody's like, we've written so many origin stories from him. We don't know which one we like the best. So we'll just.
Well, he never had an origin story.
That is real. I refuse to.
I mean, people think that's his origin story for the most part. It's mostly a accepted rule that's his origin story.
I don't think anybody who says dumb stuff like that is idiot.
It's written in the book.
I don't care if it's written anywhere. That is in that book. No, it's not. In the Killing Joke, Killing Joke, he does not say that.
He does. I swear to you.
I read that recently. It did not say that in that book. Or in that comic.
He definitely said that. I can for sure promise you.
I'll pull it up when we get next time.
But Joker's insane. That's believable. He doesn't even know half the stuff. He's a crazy person. So then again,
regardless, even if that is true, that is a terrible statement. I don't like that. But my big thing,
I guess.
What? It's not to each his own. I mean, it's the same reason I despise Batman not killing people, because he says, if I do that, I'm no better than them. That's the stupidest thing ever.
Why in the world would you trust a schizophrenic person that he told you the actual backstory that he has?
Well, he didn't say it. It was never said. It was in flashbacks.
Yeah, it's supposed to keep the reader guessing. It's a common writing tactic I like.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter. I'm not saying that. I prefer to have multiple choices.
Well, but the problem here is, people like Alan Moore. Now everyone, if he wrote that story, which he did, wrote a lot of good ones, people think they can be Alan Moore, and they can just write a bunch of dark stories.
The only good part about that story is we got to see a little bit in depth of Joker's past, and we got to see, don't say allegedly,
It's implied for what happened to him. I mean, I could believe it happened, but given how crazy Joker is, it's not too far out of the realm of possibility he would make that up.
She didn't say it. It wasn't visible. It wasn't.
No, but it's a book that gets you thinking. Like,
well, I'm just saying he's not lying to anybody because no one else heard this besides the readers.
Yeah,
and he's not talking to the readers.
But on the outside, we know he's mentally deranged. So would you believe that really?
Wait, are you saying that he imagined all this? He's not lying to anybody.
That would be my theory.
No one hears it.
It's like villain characters in anime or anything. Like, I'm not gonna take what a villain says at face value because they're a villain.
But he's not saying it. The Joker's not. So when this story happens, it happens at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a series of flashbacks in his head over the book.
I don't even know if it's even in his head or even applied because he makes no attempt to show that he's even seen the flashbacks.
Yeah.
There's no implication that he's getting flashbacks.
Because he did fall in a vat of acid. That did happen.
Well, I'm just saying, the only thing that we know exactly is the fact that
it's a cheap way. I don't say cheap. It's a way of garnering sympathy for a character to keep you guessing on, did that really happen based off the character's persona?
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's no implication that it's a backstory. It's just
that's why I like the story. It's great.
There's no implication that it's a flashback.
No, I'm saying those aspects. I love that stuff.
I think it was interesting. The characters. It was a very short story.
You don't think any indie author is going to ever write something as good as that?
I don't think it's hard to write something that good in this day and age. I don't think that was incredible.
So you think people's standards for what they like? I think
the standards for the story have improved because writing has improved. Overall, I think overall writing has improved for the most part. There's still some stuff in the back of the day that can't be touched.
Oh yeah, and then you have Twilight.
I think Lord of the Rings, and I know it's generic to say, but I really think that level of world building.
Do you genuinely think Twilight's well written?
I don't like that. No,
I'm saying not everything has to be some deep, thought-provoking thing. You can just write some generic stuff.
I'm not talking about success. I'm talking about the back of being able to write these things comes off some level of appealing to the audience.
Yeah.
If you're not going to have good character art, you have to have good character personalities. If you don't have good character personalities, you have to have a good story and a good and interesting world. If you don't have that, then you don't have a story.
Yeah.
One of these things need to be true.
All I'm saying,
indie authors don't focus on the art because they write the art themselves. And obviously, I understand.
Well, you need one cover page.
It's expensive. It's expensive to get art. They don't write interesting characters.
Some people have just been doing what you said. Do AI covers.
It's fine to do. I don't really care about that. Just write out and say I can't afford to have anything but AI draw my pictures. If I get enough money, I will eventually.
I always have said, you don't even have to make some sort of huge thought-provoking character. Some of the best-selling stuff is the most simplest stuff ever.
I don't think it comes down to anything besides the fact that a lot of those characters are predefined and the story itself was interesting where the characters weren't really standing.
Yeah, but come on.
So
there's a story about a girl loving two dudes.
Well, you're talking about something that appealed specifically to teenagers.
Even on
that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're going to do all of these things, not be able to do anything concisely, write for children. Write a romance, write an action.
Yeah, because people that talk about these kind of things want success. Well, if you want success, you could make a thought-provoking book, but I would say you don't have to. Because then again, you know, if that's not your style or you can do it, then you're just going to be...
You have to, with success, tackle one of the specific things. And I think that the biggest audience is children. If you write for children, all you need to do is make an action or romance or something similar along those lines, because you can't do... Horror does not sell as well as the other ones.
Oh, horror's not selling to children.
It doesn't sell... It's just not good. I think it's a bad genre.
Is there, like, any great, like, graphic novels for horror?
There are graphic novels. There's a billion horror stories. That's all they do.
Oh, yeah.
I really dislike it. I think it's a stump. Horror just isn't that interesting to me, because I think it relies on shock. Yeah. It relies on shock factor. I don't enjoy that.
You are not a fun person.
Shock factor is boring, dude. Give me a show. Like, the first Saw movie was good.
Thought-provoking, too.
It was. The ones after that were garbage.
I don't think number 2 is that bad.
The number 2 was okay.
Yeah.
But
after number 2, they should have just stopped.
Number 1 should have been the only one. I think number 2 wasn't good enough to make a second.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1, like...
Even if you want to count number 3, it's like... It should just stop after number 2. It's just not enough story.
I just think that there's an interesting character we saw. It was horror technically, but at the same time, we saw a lot of characters.
That's what you call suspenseful horror.
It's not even just suspenseful. We get to see just everything. We see the origin, all these things. Well, not the origin, but you know what I mean. It's just there are a lot of these.
Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah, my brain wasn't working. It's just.
Oh, it never works.
All of this. Shut up. And it was like we get to see the inner workings of all these people in this situation. Like, what are you going to do to save yourself? Everybody's willing to save themselves, but is somebody willing to put themselves?
And at the end of the story, the guy, when he thought he had no way out, cut off his own leg.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I still can't watch this today.
It's disgusting, but the characters. It's one of the few horror movies that I'll say did good.
You can understand why it popped off when
I can.
Yeah.
Halloween is garbage. I never liked all of them. I think all of them sucked.
Oh, the first one is great.
I didn't like any of the Halloween, and it's just because I don't like that. I don't like these getting chased by a killer and have to run away. I don't like them. Did you know the guy who wrote Halloween is the guy who...
John Carpenter?
Won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You ever seen that thing on him? That's where he got all his money from.
John Carpenter.
Really? I'm going to show you.
I think you need to watch... Have you watched The Thing?
You talking about the remake or the old one?
The remake that he did. It was his.
I didn't watch that, no.
The old one? Amazing.
Yeah, I heard it. The remake was actually better.
There's the original. His is the remake, and then you have the prequel, but doesn't count. No one counts that for anything. So yeah, that's what I would say. You know, I think everyone, if you are writing or creative, I think if you are a writing person or creative, you don't always have to do a thought-provoking thing. I think personally, you can do something that's basic and put more depth into a character later on, because a character could go through arcs. And in anime, characters go through many arcs of depth and layers later on. Sometimes when they're introduced, they're just kind of just one-dimensional, but later on they get better. Like characters in One Piece. Luffy's a little bit exception. I don't think he gets more depth as he goes on. He's mostly the same character as Luffy. Luffy's pretty much the same character when he starts the show till he's now.
I mean, he doesn't even have a training arc until like 500, 600.
Like Usopp as a character grows throughout the series. Zoro grows throughout the series. Nami grows throughout the series. Like, what I'm trying to say is the character you see in front of you should not be the character you see at the end of the book. So, there was a Spider-Man run by Nick Spencer called Back to the Basics. I think people need to get back to the basics. Start small in some stuff. Because I would say like some stuff that is like thought-provoking just comes off as self-pretentious. It sounds really gay. That's just how it comes up to me. But then again, I like stories like that sometimes.
So pretentious doesn't have to be. I'm just saying, get the character a little bit of depth, and I'll be happy. If it's not, just write it for children. You'll get more sales. But
have you been defined by black people?
Yeah, I just can't believe you didn't know about that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing.
I know John Carpenter is one of my favorite horror directors ever. I love that guy. He's a political takes, I don't want to listen to for that stuff. All right, so we'll see you guys in the next one. We'll probably do this, I don't know, whenever, sometime later on, maybe before the end of the year. So, see you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later. Peace.